the Legal Corner podcast series. Welcome to today's episode of The Legal Corner, a podcast which covers a variety of legal issues to keep you informed. Hosted by attorney at law Colin Denoon and communications specialist Leonardo Torres.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of the Legal Corner podcast series. I am your host, Colin Denoon, and I'm joined in studio today by my great co-host, Mr. Leonardo Torres. Before I bring on Leonardo, allow me to welcome you to our podcast from wherever in the world you are joining us, and to wish you and your family a happy New Year and all of the best for 2022. How are you today, Leonardo?
Great. I'm very happy to be off of the break here for the Christmas and the New Year's season. And we have an interesting lineup of episodes. I'm really excited for all of our listeners to enjoy our future episodes.
Of course, and we have been getting. I'm great. Always happy to link up with you, and always excited about the various guests that we have coming on. And thus far we have been getting tremendous feedback by various persons about the novelty of this program and of what we are doing as two young men. And persons are really buying into the idea, and I'm looking forward to all of the great content that we have coming up for the rest of this year.
Yes,
right.
Certainly.
So today, this is our fourth episode, and we are going to be looking at improving and maintaining your mental health. Mental health can be a bit of a taboo subject, and many persons struggle with their mental health in silence. As it relates to the legal industry, the International Bar Association in the year 2020 launched a global study on mental well-being in the legal profession. The final report was launched in October of last year, and the results were startling. A whopping 40% of respondents continued to be hampered by the stigma associated with mental issues. The end result of this is that they are reluctant to seek help or to speak out. Joining us today on the Legal Corner is our guest, Dr. Esther Trotman. Just to tell you a bit about Dr. Trotman before I bring her on, Esther Trotman is a young medical practitioner based in Barbados with a passion for primary health care and whole person care. She was born and raised in Barbados, then traveled to Jamaica, where she received her medical degree at UWI Mona and grew in other passions such as dancing, traveling, and writing. On returning to Barbados in 2019, she practiced in emergency care and then transitioned to primary health care. She developed a burden for helping people address and heal, not just from physical illnesses, but also mental health and social issues such as emotional and spiritual struggles. She launched a lifestyle blog addressing these issues, and this eventually led to her starting her own business, Star Wellness Lifestyle, a holistic health and wellness consultancy. She is certified in advanced holistic counseling and psychology, as well as diet and nutrition management. She hopes in the near future to specialize in family medicine, to travel the world, to have her own family, and to help as many persons live a whole and healthy lifestyle. Welcome to the Legal Corner, Dr. Trotman.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this podcast.
How are you doing today? How are things in Barbados?
I'm doing well. Things in Barbados, probably not so well, but I think we're entering into our fourth wave. But I guess nothing we can't manage. God's willing.
Of course, most definitely. God's willing. Now, I noted in your bio that you would have said that you write a lifestyle business called Star Wellness Lifestyle. Tell us a bit about that business.
Okay, so Star Wellness Lifestyle is a holistic health and wellness organization that provides health awareness services through wellness seminars, coaching, and eventually products. I'm actually looking to launch a product before the end of this quarter, so listen out for that. But our mission is to provide quality health and wellness services and products to promote and encourage persons, individuals, to have a healthy lifestyle.
Okay,
Basically,
excellent.
yeah.
That's excellent. That's an innovative idea. And I know that you also do a lot of writing where on a monthly basis or
Mhm.
so you put out different articles. So tell me a bit about the blog and what topics do you cover in your blog?
Basically, the lifestyle blog covers a range of mental health disorders, ranging from depression and anxiety, to physical health issues such as acid reflux, endometriosis, and then spiritual topics such as discovering your God given purpose, or emotional things such as navigating grief. And the funny thing about it is that I first started the blog 2 years ago, Living Life Whole. And then that's how it transitioned into a business. I had to rebrand and I came out with Star Wellness Lifestyle. And really and truly, it came about from sharing my own experiences with mental, physical, and emotional problems. And then also, I found I was encountering a lot of patients that would present with physical ailments. But then, when you probe more, you find out that they have a lot of underlying mental and social issues that are not dealt with. So, I wanted to shine some light on the connection between the mind, body, soul, spirit, and help to give persons guidance on how to heal and to grow and invest in each area of their health.
So it's really a holistic blog. It doesn't only focus on one area, but you focus on many, many different areas.
Yes.
No, I'm sure you'd have an idea, in terms of which articles do better than others, which articles are more widely appreciated. Would you be able to tell us what has been your most widely read article thus far?
I actually have to go and research my Google Analytics to figure out what was the best, most read article. And I found that it was actually the mind body soul connection, which is everything that, my brand stands for and promotes. And it basically breaks down how each area of health impacts on the other area. So how your mind impacts on your body and how your body impacts on your soul and vice versa. And so it was basically helping people to identify those connections and then giving tips on how to invest and heal in each area. Yeah.
Dr. Trotman, is an interesting find that you would say that this particular article, which is
Mm-hmm.
really what your blog is all about, that connection and the synergy between these three elements that
Yeah.
makes us human beings. That
Yep.
it's I'm not really that surprised that it would have been one of the most widely read articles. But do you think that maybe there is some sort of connection as to maybe some persons are not able to find themselves, so they feel like they don't have that right synergy as to why that article may have been the widely read one? What's your opinion on that?
Well, that's true. I mean, persons could be looking for answers, trying to really understand maybe why they might be feeling a certain way, or, why they acted a certain way. So I'm guessing people were probably gravitated towards it because it helped to bring that connection and to bring some clarity to persons. And yeah, and I guess like from persons that actually reached out to me and said, wow, they really enjoyed the tips that were given. So basically, I was sharing about, how you can invest into your mind. Okay, so when your mind, it involves your mental health and it involves your emotional health. And so when you make time to, example, journal, or you make time to really analyze what you're thinking about, that then can help you to figure out why I've been so tired all the time, or why I may be having these low moods. So yeah, I find that persons are, really trying to understand themselves better. And then a lot of persons, since COVID-19, persons are just trying to find ways to take better care of their overall wellness.
All right. So it's a very interesting blog. I have actually did a bit of perusing of the blog prior to today's episode, and I'm really, really happy to get that behind the scenes look of which was the most popular one and maybe why. And it
Yeah.
really makes sense and it adds up now. But for the listener today who is hearing about this blog for the first time,
hmm
how would you say that persons can sign up for this blog?
You can go onto the website easily at www.starwellnesslifestyle.com, and you can go and click on the lifestyle blog. But if you want to stay connected with me and get the updates on the lifestyle blog, you can actually, on the homepage, there's a sign up sheet. All you need to do is put in your name and your email and click sign up, and you'll be part of our. You'll be one of my subscribers basically, and you'll be getting updates monthly on the blog, and then any updates as well on my brand, on any upcoming events or any products that we might be launching. So I promise I won't spam you or overload your inbox. So yeah, just to stay connected with me.
All right, lovely. So let's just change gears a little bit, um, and let's delve a bit into mental health, right?
hmm
Because we did touch on earlier as we were introducing today's episode that mental health, I guess, due to the pandemic, not that it was not existing before this thing of mental health, but I think issues that goes on globally, outside of somebody's personal lives, because we all have our situations that we go through in or out of a pandemic. But I think now that COVID is doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon, it's an added pressure for a lot of people from time to time. But what would be your definition of the term mental health?
Okay. I like the fact that you asked my definition, because there is the World Health Organization definition, which a lot of us may have come across. It's the state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities and can cope with the normal stresses of life. But when I personally think of mental health, I think of how an individual processes and responds to their environment and the various situations that they may be faced with on a daily basis. And then how their perspective of the world, of themselves, whether it be positive or negative, then impacts on their behaviors, and then it impacts on their relationships, it impacts on their productivity. So I think it really comes down to how that individual processes the different environments and situations in life.
Excellent definition, very thorough. And it made me think about the fact that, as I alluded to in the introduction, that many persons have struggles with their mental health. What would you say are the symptoms of poor mental health?
Okay, so poor mental health can be displayed in different ways, and I think it also ranges between adults versus children, men versus women. So, poor mental health may, at at a glance, you might notice that the person is not very social, or they isolate themselves a lot. They might have a lot of negative speech, such as a lot of doom and gloom, and they find it hard to find positive things about life. Or you might actually notice um, signs of self harm, whether it be cutting themselves, or they're not taking care of their regular, hygiene, or they have changes in their eating habits. Or, for example, they might actually be complaining of what we call psychosomatic symptoms. So that's basically when the body um, displays mental health disorders, um, and it might present with chronic pain, and you just can't find a cause for it. Fatigue, headaches, or even poor gut health by having constipation, abdominal pain, bloating. So At a glance, those are signs of poor mental health. But then if you go deeper, for example, a female versus a male struggling with depression might look a bit different. A male might be more driven to focus on their occupation, and they might end up going into abusing drugs or alcohol, or they might have bouts of aggression. Versus a female, she might withdraw from her friends or not being as talkative as usual, or you might find that she's not taking care of her physical, appearance as much as before. And then with children tend to, it's a bit more difficult to pick up poor mental health in children. So you have to be very aware of any slight changes. For example, if they were doing well in school and then all of a sudden they are not doing so well, or they don't want to hang out with anybody at school. So these are all indicators of poor mental health.
Excellent. Now, we have indicated what is the problem. We have indicated what are the symptoms. What can an individual do to improve their mental health?
Well, that's an excellent question. One thing I'd like to say, first of all, is that mental health is a journey. It involves discovering who you are as an individual. Sometimes it may involve professional support, and it also involves having a community. The first thing I would say is to try to seek professional counseling and find a counselor that works for you, because everybody is not going to be your cup of tea and you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. So it actually might take time trying to, find the right person that can help you along the journey. If you're not ready to take that step, then you can start with journaling. Get a book, and that goes for men and women. Get a book and start writing out and expressing how you feel, identifying any unhealthy thought patterns that you might notice that you're ruminating over the same thoughts over and over. Writing out and speaking like positive daily affirmations to overcome those negative thoughts, and then reaching out to somebody that you can trust, whether it be a leader, whether it be um, a mentor, a friend, somebody that you can trust and that you can talk through certain things with, and staying connected to a healthy community. And everybody has, their own interests, whether it be at church or if you are part of a social, like a Key Club or Kiwanis or one of those communities. And find a community that, has similar interests that, can help you along the way and keep you motivated. And being intentional about what you consume on a daily basis is important. For example, um, positive and helpful resources like books and podcasts like this one, or YouTube videos. But making sure that you limit your social media intake, because if you're not careful, social media can actually become, pretty draining to your mental health, and you might find yourself comparing yourself to other persons. So just be careful about how much social media you take in, and making time for breaks, spending time in nature. Studies have actually shown that spending time in nature and exercising produces endorphins, which are feel good hormones in the body, and that helps to improve your overall mental health. And learning to as well create healthy boundaries with those people in your life. For example, some people are just, frankly, some people are toxic, and you just have to make your distance and, to protect your mental health. Or if it's a situation at work that you can't really necessarily get away from, but learning to say no, learning to, not push your boundaries basically. And lastly, taking care of your physical health actually helps with improving your mental health. So I mentioned exercising, but what you eat, what you feed your body with, it can make a huge difference. And studies have shown that when you work on improving your gut health, for example, eating more fiber in fruits and vegetables, probiotics. It actually helps the gut. It has it's like their second brain basically, and it has a lot of neurons in there that helps to impact on your mental health. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. We really appreciate, how elaborate you went into ways in which we can improve it, because I think, to the average listener, hearing a plethora of ways that it can improve, it can be applicable to somebody, and I think
I
that
hope
is how
so.
wide mental health is. Some of us have problems in ways that could be uncommon, and also we have problems that are quite common to others, but as it pertains to the genetic and environmental factors, right? Do you think any of those play a role in a person having mental health challenges?
Definitely. There have been a lot of discussions and a lot of investigations about how genetics and mental factors play a role on mental health, but the conclusion has been that it's pretty complex, and the fact is that there are quite a few disorders, like for example schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and depression, that do have significant genetic risk factors. So if you have a strong family history or your genomic makeup, so that just means how your genes in the body are made up to form the chromosomes, and basically that interacting with environmental risk factors such as that if you live in the city versus if you live in a rural area, or your socioeconomic background, or if you've experienced any trauma, those two interact, and then that as a result increases or decreases your risk for developing that mental health disorder. And so they're saying that it's actually quite difficult to pinpoint and determine to what degree these factors influence brain function and mental health, but there have been studies showing that it definitely does impact. They just don't know exactly to what degree. And I came across this really cool quote by Cooper B. Nature, and he said that the development of psychiatric disease is dependent on the degree to which a range of genetic, environmental, and psychological risk factors interact with any given individual. So it's pretty complex, but there definitely is a role to play.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Trotman. So, in essence, it would be an interaction between your environment and your personal disposition. So, it will be a combination that can be and explain for any sort of mental health challenges that someone may be having.
Definitely. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I just have one final question as it relates to persons who may say, my mental health is good. I think I am doing okay, and I want to continue doing okay in the future. So for people like that, what can we adopt? What practices can we adopt which will help us to maintain our mental health going forward?
Sure. Well, I guess it includes a lot of what I would have mentioned before, but how ways that you can maintain good mental health would be moving your body every day, or even if it's 3 to 4 days per week, finding time to exercise, um, getting outdoors often. Um, so don't let work consume your life, but make time to get outdoors and socialize, and stay connected to a community. Incorporating self care into your daily routine, and self care is just basically any little thing that helps you to feel better about yourself or helps you to unwind and relax. So anything that is going to help you take care of you, um, and creating a healthy routine that works for you. Um, as I said, connecting with community, so that's friends and family, as often as possible. We might have friends and family all over the world. I surely do, but making that time to connect with them on WhatsApp or on the internet, calls, different things like that can help so much. Continuing to be intentional about what you eat. Try not to eat so much fast food, but eat more whole foods and more fruits and vegetables. Being careful about what you feed on a daily basis, as I mentioned before. If you need to take time to disconnect from social media, for example, if you find that you're just coming across bad news all the time, then take time to disconnect and focus on positive content. And as a Christian, I would encourage you to also make time to talk to God and pray and, spend time with Him. I feel that really helps and makes a huge difference.
Thank you so much, Dr. Trotman. We can definitely endorse the importance of spirituality and spending time with God and helping us overcome all of our challenges. So at this juncture, I would just like to give you an opportunity to share your final words with us on this whole topic of mental health and what you would want us to be our main takeaway from today's proceeding.
Sure. Well, I would say that our mental health is a crucial part of our everyday lives. It impacts our productivity, our relationships, and just the overall quality of our lives. So taking time to invest into your mental health could never be a waste of time. So I encourage each and every person that is listening to make time today to invest into your mental health.
Thank you, Dr. Trotman. Mr. Torres,
Thank you
final
too.
words.
I'm so happy that we were able to touch on a topic that is so important as it pertains to our life and, just how we function, whether it be in the workplace, within our family, in our relationships. And I feel like, generally speaking, mental health is something that has been very taboo. I think as much as, decades have passed by, I always find that it's an issue whereby people run and hide from. It's always like, nothing is wrong with you. Why are you carrying on like that? And, I'm just happy that we were able to have Dr. Trotman today as our guest to really shed light on the causes, the issues surrounding it, and as well as how we can get out of some of those problems or situations that we put ourselves in sometimes that causes poor mental health, and not just getting out of those situations, but also maintaining it. Because I would imagine, especially in our times right now, it's something whereby we are in very, very difficult times. And I feel like things that we have control over, we should try our very best to control those things, and I'm very, very pleased to have you today as our guest. And I'm very, very happy with the discussion that we have had today. I'm very, very pleased that we were able to have this episode for our listeners today. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you too.
It has definitely been our pleasure. Folks, this has brought us to the end of another episode of the Legal Corner podcast series. I'd just like to provide some information for those of you who would like to get in contact with Dr. Trotman. On Facebook, you can check under the handle Star Wellness Lifestyle. Instagram, @star.wellnesslifestyle. And check out our website, starwellnesslifestyle.com. Until next time, this has been the Legal Corner podcast series. Remember to check us out on social media, and we look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Legal Corner podcast series. For more information, please visit us at our Facebook or Instagram pages, or send your comments to thelegalcornerpodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.